Aurelia CLI is a command line tool that runs under Node.js, just like JSPM that we installed back in the introduction to this course. So in order to get Aurelia installed on this machine, I'm going to npm install Aurelia CLI with a -g switch, which means install it globally. That means I should be able to open a command prompt or a shell anywhere on this computer and type Aurelia, and it's going to be available. And now that that tool is installed, I should be able to type Aurelia from anywhere, and that command is available. I do get two warnings, however. The first warning is that a local Aurelia installation is not found. This is a pattern that several Node.js tools follow, like gulp. You want to have a global installation of this tool so that the command is available everywhere, but the global installation is just going to call into a local installation of that tool so that individual projects can all be using different versions of Aurelia CLI and not conflicting with each other. So I need a local installation in addition to that global installation, and I can do that by saying npm install Aurelia without the -g, and probably with a flag like save dev, because that will record the fact that I'm using this into my package.json file. It will be a development dependency. With the installation complete, I should now be able to run Aurelia, and I'll be down to one warning that there is no Aurelia file. So an Aurelia file is very similar to a gulp file or a grunt file if you've used those technologies. It's going to be a file that provides Aurelia with some instructions to execute and some parameters and some configuration data that will allow me to do things like bundle a file. So if I want to type Aurelia bundle and have this tool create a bundle or multiple bundles for me, then I will need to create an Aurelia file with some instructions about what to bundle and where to place the output. It can be a very simple file, and I want to add this to the root of my project, and it is just a JavaScript file that has the name aureliafile.js. And this is a file that, just like a grunt file or a gulp file, will execute under Node.js. So for right now, these days, I'll be using ES5 syntax and the var keyword, although there are ways to write gulp files and Aurelia files using ES6 and have them transpiled with Babel before they run in Node. But to keep things simple, what I want to do is I want to get a hold of a programming API that is available for this tool in this JavaScript file. So I can require Aurelia CLI, and that's very similar to an import statement in ES6. And then I can tell Aurelia about the command, specifically the bundle command. What should it bundle? Where should it place the output? There's two types of bundling that can happen. There's the bundling of JavaScript files, and there's also the bundling of template files or HTML files. Because in that list of 285 requests, you'll notice a few HTML files are being downloaded, app.html and list.html. And if we navigate to the details for a movie, the application has to pull down details.html. So this tool also provides the ability to take all of those templates, put them into a single HTML file, and then we can have a single download that will provide the application with all of the templates that it needs. But first, let's talk about the script files. What I do inside of this object is I essentially tell Aurelia, first of all, what is the module or what is the bundle that I want to create? Well, I'm going to tell it that inside of the www root folder, I want something called appbundle.js. So you can think of it like the app bundle module. And that module itself will consist of the following modules, which I will list. And then you can have some bundling options that are specified. Bundling options would include things like, do I want source maps or not? And I'm going to tell the tool about the following modules. So this is where I can list things like the Aurelia Bootstrapper. So I want all of the modules that Aurelia Bootstrapper provides, as well as all of its dependencies, to be transpiled and placed into this app bundle file. And in addition to the Bootstrapper, I also want the framework itself. We also use the Aurelia router, as well as the Aurelia HTTP client, as well as Aurelia validation. So you'll notice that this is basically the list of top-level modules that we JSPM installed. That's what I'm listing here, so everything gets placed into a single file. And remember, it will be the module as well as all of its dependencies. So technically, because things like Aurelia validation depend on things that are inside of Aurelia framework, I could probably get away without listing that module explicitly, but I'm going to leave it in there because it makes me feel better to see it. Now, in addition to all the framework stuff, which will bring in core.js and everything else that's needed, I also need to list out the application modules, my application modules. And if all of my application code was in a single subfolder underneath of www root, like if I had pushed everything down into an app folder, it would be very easy for me to say, go into the app folder and basically just glob up all the modules that you find in that folder and in all the subfolders. That's the syntax for that. We didn't do that, so I have to be a little more careful about how I attach modules here for my application, just because there are some other JS files here, like config.js, which I don't want to be caught up in this globbing pattern. So I'm going to be very explicit and say that I need the app view model, the app module, as well as main, that main module, which bootstraps the application and configures Aurelia. And then there's the various folders that have my application modules. So there's about and movies and resources. So I'm going to say, go to the about folder and take everything, go to the movies folder and take everything, and go to the resources folder and take everything. And that will place nearly everything that I need into a single file, appbundle.js. And then I don't even have to modify my index.html file to include that app bundle. Instead, what I can do during bundling, I can pass along this option that says inject true. And what this will do is inject some configuration into config.js about the bundle so that at runtime, when the module loader sees that, oh, we need something from movie data, it will know that that was already loaded as part of a bundle and it doesn't need to go back to the web server to fetch another file. Everything that it needs should already be in place. So one of the beautiful things about bundling is I can simply execute the code to produce this bundle, not change anything else, and my application will automatically start using that bundle. There's also an unbundling command that I'll show you if I ever want to reverse that change in config.js. But now that we have the appbundle.js file specified, let's also go ahead and build out a template file. So this will also go in www root in appbundle, but this will be an HTML file. And here I want to tell it to basically go out and grab all the HTML files that it can find. And this one will have no options right now, as this is actually a very early preview of what the bundling features will be like in the CLI tool. The template bundling isn't completely finished, but what I should have the ability to do now is save everything, and now come out to my command prompt and tell Aurelia to bundle up some files. I'll get a few warnings about things that are deprecated. This will all be fixed in the future. The important thing is I do not have any error messages, and if I come into Visual Studio, I now see that I have appbundle.html as well as appbundle.js, and appbundle.js contains all of the transpiled code for all of those modules. And if I look in config.sys real quick, I'll also see that there's something new here, which is that there's a configuration entry that will tell the module loader that there is a bundle, app bundle, and all you need to do is grab that one file, and that will give you all of the stuff that is listed here. All of these modules, stuff from Aurelia, stuff from Core.js, stuff from the application itself. So I should just be able to refresh my application. And just with that little bit of work, we were able to cut things down to 59 requests. I'm not taking advantage of the HTML bundling as yet. And there's a few other things that we can tighten up, but you can see that's a significant difference from 285 requests. And if for some reason I wanted to undo that, I could just tell JSPM to unbundle. It will remove that bundle configuration from config.js for me, and now I would be back to my 285 some requests. But with the basic bundling in place, let's continue to look and see how we can improve this.